What if Clint Eastwood walked onto The View expecting a normal conversation, only to find himself caught in a tense exchange with Joy Behar that quickly spiraled out of control? In this dramatized entertainment scenario, everything begins calmly. The audience is watching, the cameras are rolling, and the conversation seems like another celebrity interview. But as Joy Behar starts pressing Eastwood with increasingly challenging questions, the mood begins to change. Eastwood doesn't immediately react. He listens. He pauses. He gives short answers. And then comes the moment that supposedly changes everything. Instead of getting louder, Eastwood becomes quieter. He appears completely unwilling to turn the interview into a shouting match. But according to the fictional scenario circulating online, Behar keeps pushing. She challenges his views on Hollywood, his long career, and the way the entertainment industry has changed over the years. Eastwood remains composed, but the tension becomes impossible to ignore. The audience starts wondering how far the conversation will go. Then Behar allegedly asks a question that crosses a line. Eastwood looks toward her, pauses for a moment, and gives a response that completely changes the atmosphere. He doesn't insult her, he doesn't shout. He simply makes it clear that he came to have a conversation, not to be attacked. And then something unexpected happens. Eastwood stands up. For a second, nobody seems to know what he's going to do. The audience becomes silent. Behar appears surprised, and then Eastwood walks away. No dramatic speech, no screaming match, just a quiet decision to end the conversation. That is the fictional moment at the center of this viral-style story. But before anyone treats the headline as real breaking news, there is an important distinction to make. There is no verified evidence that Clint Eastwood actually walked off The View after a confrontation with Joy Behar. The scenario should be understood as dramatized entertainment rather than a confirmed television event. Still, the reason a story like this can feel believable is obvious. The View has a long history of heated political and celebrity conversations, and Joy Behar has been involved in plenty of memorable on-air debates. The program has also experienced genuine walk-off moments in the past, which gives fictional stories like this a familiar setting. In one real incident from 2010, Behar and Whoopi Goldberg left the stage during a heated discussion involving Bill O'Reilly. That actually happened, and it became one of the show's most remembered moments. So when viewers see a headline involving Behar, a tense discussion, and someone walking away, the scenario can immediately sound possible. But putting Clint Eastwood into that story creates an entirely different kind of drama. Eastwood has spent decades building a reputation as one of Hollywood's most recognizable figures. From his early acting career to his work behind the camera, he became associated with a particular kind of quiet, controlled screen presence. That's exactly why the fictional confrontation works as a storytelling device. Viewers can imagine Eastwood sitting across from Behar while she keeps asking difficult questions, and he refuses to lose his composure. The tension isn't created by screaming, it's created by silence. Every pause becomes meaningful. Every short answer makes the audience wonder what he's thinking. And then, according to the dramatized version, Behar pushes one question too far. Eastwood reportedly responds with the kind of calm statement that leaves everyone in the studio uncomfortable. The point isn't that he wins an argument. The point is that he refuses to participate in one. He doesn't need the last word because his decision to leave becomes the last word. That is what makes the imagined moment so powerful. In a typical television confrontation, viewers expect someone to raise their voice. They expect accusations, interruptions, and a dramatic comeback. But this fictional scenario takes the opposite approach. Eastwood doesn't explode. He simply decides that the conversation isn't worth continuing, and that makes the walkout feel even more dramatic. Imagine the studio after he leaves. The cameras are still rolling. The audience doesn't know whether to applaud or stay silent. Behar is left sitting at the table, and suddenly the entire energy of the interview has changed. What began as a celebrity discussion has become the kind of moment that could dominate social media for days. Clips would be reposted. Headlines would appear everywhere. People would argue about who was right. Some viewers would say Eastwood handled the situation with dignity. Others would argue that walking away from a difficult conversation is not the same as winning it. And others would simply be fascinated by the unexpected combination of Clint Eastwood and Joy Behar. But that's where the story becomes bigger than the fictional walkout itself. Why do celebrity confrontation stories spread so quickly? Because they create an immediate question: who would win? Eastwood represents old-school Hollywood, while Behar is known for sharp, outspoken conversations. Put them together, and the possibility of conflict creates instant curiosity. When a famous person goes on a talk show, viewers usually expect questions, jokes, and a normal interview. A walkout breaks that formula. Suddenly, the interview isn't about promotion anymore. It's about the decision to leave. In this dramatized scenario, Eastwood supposedly reaches a point where he realizes the conversation is going nowhere. Instead of shouting, he chooses silence. He gets up, he walks away, and the moment becomes the story. But the distinction between entertainment and reality matters. A dramatic YouTube headline can make a fictional situation sound like confirmed news, especially when real celebrities and a real television program are involved. That's why this story should be presented as a hypothetical or dramatized scenario rather than something that actually happened. The View has experienced genuine heated moments before, but that doesn't mean every viral story involving the show is true. The fictional Eastwood scenario simply asks, what if? What if Eastwood appeared on the show? What if Behar challenged him repeatedly? What if the conversation became uncomfortable? And what if, instead of arguing, he simply stood up and left? That's the fantasy at the center of the story. The imagined Eastwood doesn't need a huge speech. His restraint becomes the drama. The quieter he remains, the more viewers wonder what he's thinking. Was he angry? Was he disappointed? Or did he simply believe walking away was the best choice? Those unanswered questions keep the story moving. Then comes the fictional aftermath. Clips of the supposed exchange begin spreading online. Some viewers praise Eastwood for refusing to engage in a hostile conversation. Others criticize him for leaving. Suddenly, an imagined television moment becomes a debate about celebrity interviews, disagreement, and how quickly stories spread online. That's the real lesson. Not every headline that looks like breaking celebrity news is actually reporting a verified event. Sometimes the personalities are real, the setting is real, but the story itself is fictional. That's why checking the original source matters before believing or sharing a dramatic claim. In this Eastwood-Behar scenario, there is no reliable evidence establishing that the confrontation actually happened, so the responsible way to tell it is as dramatized entertainment. And that doesn't make the idea less interesting. Instead of asking, did this really happen? Viewers can ask, what would happen if it did? If Eastwood were placed in that situation, his public image makes the imagined response easy to picture. He wouldn't need to shout or insult anyone. He could simply decide the conversation had reached its limit. That restraint creates the final twist. The biggest moment isn't a shocking speech. It's the decision to walk away. The headline immediately creates questions. What did Behar say? How did Eastwood respond? Why did he leave? What happened after the cameras kept rolling? Those questions create the curiosity gap, while the story remains clearly fictional. The real world already has plenty of unexpected celebrity moments, but sometimes the most compelling story begins with a simple, what if? This one imagines two recognizable personalities, one tense conversation, and a decision nobody expected. Eastwood doesn't scream. Behar doesn't get the explosive reaction viewers might expect. Instead, the conversation ends with a quiet walk toward the exit. And perhaps that's what makes the imagined moment memorable. Sometimes the person who says the least creates the biggest moment. Until reliable evidence appears, however, this belongs in the category of viral entertainment rather than confirmed celebrity news. So before believing the next shocking headline, look beyond the headline itself. Ask where the story came from. Ask whether the footage is authentic. Ask whether reputable sources actually reported it, because online, a dramatic story can travel around the world long before anyone checks whether it happened. That's exactly why this fictional Eastwood-Behar showdown feels fascinating. The personalities are real. The setting is real. The history of heated television debates is real. But the confrontation itself remains unverified. So think of it for what it is. A Hollywood what-if brought to life. Clint Eastwood sits across from Joy Behar. The questions get tougher, the atmosphere gets colder, and finally, one quiet decision ends the conversation. He stands. He walks away. The cameras keep rolling, and everyone is left wondering what might have happened if he had stayed.